Welcome back to the Inside ETFs video series by ETF.com. I'm Drew Voros, Editor-in-Chief of ETF.com, and I'm joined by Roy Riggs, CEO of Syntax. Welcome, Roy.
Thanks.
You're a new player to the space here. Tell us a little bit about, before we get into your products, what is Syntax?
Syntax is first of all, we're an indexer. So we've created a brand new class of index called a stratified weight index.
What does that even mean?
Stratified means diversified holdings. We take the major indices, S&P 500, MSCI, EFA, and we diversify the holdings. So we hold all the constituents, but we hold them in a diversified manner. And we find that by holding them in a diversified manner, you have a better chance of getting a risk-adjusted rate of return.
So when you say diversified manner, what does that mean?
We have them all, but we created our own 8 sectors. These are sectors that we thought didn't correlate. Markowitz told us we should have 8 stocks that don't correlate. We think you need 8 groups. Within each of those groups, we then diversify them again, because do you want to own Chevron and Exxon, or do you want to own a diversified energy portfolio?
Right.
You want to learn the big banks. So each of these sectors we do, and every quarter, we rebalance the sectors to 1/8 your portfolio, and then we rebalance the groups in between.
I know you just launched the product in January. What do you mean by beating that? The strategy has worked in back testing?
And so we're new to the ETFs, but we're not new to indexing or asset management. So we've had these indexes available for approximately 10 years, and we've had we've been managing money to track these indexes for 8 years. We're the first ETF that was able to contribute an existing fund into the ETF. So we launched with a 4-year track record, according to the SEC.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that fund. The ticker is SSPY,
Yep.
right? What's the formal name?
The formal name is the Syntax Stratified Large Cap ETF, the stratified weight version of the S&P 500.
Okay, so you're obviously jumping on the back SPY.
Yep.
It's a familiar ticker.
Yep.
You put an S in front of it. Is that for the stratified?
It is for the stratified. It's a stratified SPY.
Okay, so what's the differentiation? Well, I mean, like, why would somebody want to get into that versus just going with the market?
Because I come from healthcare, and in healthcare what we do is we take populations and we diversify them when we do clinical trials to avoid over-concentrations of patients who have related health risks. Where the same thing happens in cap weighting. At the end of every bull market, you have these really bad weightings. In 1999, it was 45% tech. In 2008, it was the big center banks. Now it's FANGs, and you know you have these weights, and they create a risk. And so we now allow you to own the exact same constituents, but in a diversified manner.
So we have equal weighted, we have market weight.
Yep.
That has nothing to do with you, right? Necessarily?
No.
That's not your methodology, is it?
No, what we would say is that equal weight protects you against the risk of individual companies. They protect you against the Apple risk. But they don't fix the problem of related business risk. Both cap weight and equal weight overweight groups. Equal weight always overweights industrials, for example, because there are a lot of industrial companies. Cap weight overweights whatever the momentums are. So we take those groups and put them into fixed buckets to keep them in those fixed buckets. You wake up every day knowing exactly what's in your portfolio.
So how do you sell this product? Who do you sell it to? What's your distribution model? How does that work?
The reason our timing was so important is everybody now thinks there's a reset going on. The fourth quarter was a reset. So if you're in a reset in 2009, you would have hoped my product was there because you could have diversified the tech. And so right now what we're explaining to people that in this market reset, you should be in diversified. In a bull market, doesn't matter how you hold stocks, when you're either in a sideways market or a down market, you want to order a diversified holding. And so we are now presenting an alternative to the market for the exact same constituents, so your core portfolio can say what it is. We think the constituents of the market, the way you weight the stocks, aren't the market. We think it's actually a diversified holding be the better way to define a market, and so that's how we sell it.
Well, let's talk about, we're at Inside ETFs here in Hollywood, Florida. You're a small issuer going up against the big boys. What's your goal?
Our goal is to define a new benchmark. To me, this cap-weighted thing, I don't think has been totally vetted, and I think that they do have these massive imbalances, and in down markets, it kills you. Our goal is to define ourselves as a new benchmark, and that's why we have indices of all the major indices, so you can own your MSCI index, keep your constituents, but own them in a different way.
Thank you for stopping by, and I appreciate everybody watching. Continue to watch our Inside ETF video series. I'm Drew Voros, ETF.com. Roy Riggs with Syntax. Thank you, Roy.